Let me tell you how it actually happened. Not the polished version, not the press release, the real thing. I was born in Ibadan in 1996. My father worked in civil service, a man of files, stamps, and quiet rules. He believed structure would protect you. My mother traded in the market. She didn't believe in structure. She believed in movement. If the road was blocked, she moved. If the price shifted, she moved. She survived on proverbs and relentless energy. I was the middle child, the observer. My father wanted me to be steady. My mother wanted me to be sharp. I think I became a mix of both. But steadiness doesn't always save you. Sometimes it just makes you stand still while the ground gives way. We lived in a compound with 3 other families. You didn't have privacy, but you had community. If I fell, 3 aunties screamed before I even hit the ground. That's how it was. Loud, warm, chaotic. I didn't know then that I was living in a memory I'd spend the rest of my life trying to reconstruct with a guitar and a microphone. My name is Adéolá, Crown of Honor. My grandfather named me. He said I would carry the family's dignity. I was 6 when he said that. I thought dignity was like a hat. You just put it on. I didn't know it was heavy. Then the air changed. You don't always notice it at first. It's not a sudden explosion. It's a slow tightening. Soldiers on corners, markets closing early. The kind of tension that makes adults stop talking on the street and start speaking in lowered voices. One week, the roads were open. The next, they were. Leaving wasn't a dramatic choice. It was a Tuesday. We sold what we could, a refrigerator, a radio, my mother's best fabrics. We kept the cash in a sock. Classic. We got papers. Fake ones. Good enough to get us to the coast. Not good enough to get us anywhere else. I don't talk about the boat much. Interviews always ask for it. The sea doesn't care about your backstory. It's black. It's cold. It's indifferent. That's the part they never show you in movies. The ocean doesn't hate you. It just doesn't care if you live. I held my brother's hand. He was 7. He kept asking if we were going to Disneyland. My mother told him yes. She lied to him so he wouldn't scream. That's the kind of honor you don't get a crown for. Just lying to your kid to keep him quiet while you're drifting in the dark. We made it to Dover. Not by choice, by exhaustion. When they pulled us in, I didn't feel relief. I felt heavy, like my legs were filled with wet sand. They put us through the processing centers. Fingerprints, photos, questions repeated until the words lost their shape. Why did you leave? Do you have family here? What is your religion? They file you. You're not a person, you're a case number. They placed us in South London, an estate, I won't name it. The postcode stigma is real, and I don't need to feed the algorithm. But you know the type. Gray concrete. Streetlights that had been smashed years ago and never replaced. Lifts that smelled like rust and cheap disinfectant. We were on the 14th floor. My father, who used to wear a tie to work every day, sat in a vest and shorts staring at the wall. He couldn't work. Not yet. Maybe not ever. His credentials didn't translate here. My mother started cleaning offices at night. She came home with her hands cracked and bleeding, but she'd still smile and ask about my homework. School was a different kind of survival. I was the refugee kid, the accent, the clothes from the charity shop that didn't fit right. The kids in London suburbs, they have a radar for weakness. If you flinch, they bite. I learned to make myself small, head down, walk fast. Don't make eye contact. If you don't see them, maybe they won't see you. But you always see them. You see the fights behind the bike sheds. You see the dealers on the corner treating teenagers like cash machines. You see the police cars cruising slow, looking for a reason to stop someone who looks like you. I started writing then, not songs, just sentences. In a notebook I stole from school. I wrote about the hum of the generator. I wrote about the cold. I wrote about my father's silence. I didn't know I was writing lyrics. I was just trying to prove I still existed. Then came 16. There was a community center on the high street. It was falling apart. The roof leaked. The carpet smelled like damp wool. The heating only worked if you kicked it twice. But it was open. An old man ran it. He was Jamaican, winded, smoked roll-ups that smelled like tar and regret. He ran a sound system workshop on weekends. He didn't care about grades. He cared about rhythm. One Saturday, he put on a record, Muddy Waters, then Etta James. I sat on a folding chair in the corner, and I swear the air left the room. It wasn't just sadness. It was dignity in the pain. It was the same feeling my mother had when she came home with bleeding hands and still cooked dinner. It was the same feeling my father had when he stared at the wall, refusing to beg. The blues wasn't American. It wasn't geography. It was gravity. It was just dressed differently in London. I begged him to let me use a guitar. He laughed, asked if I had fingers for that. He handed me an acoustic with strings so high they cut my skin. I bled for 3 months. My mother put bandages on my fingers and told me I was crazy. Maybe I was. I started going to open mics. Peckham, Brixton, Lewisham, pubs that smelled like stale beer and damp coats. The PA systems crackled. The audiences were drunk and talking over you. I didn't win. I didn't get applause. Sometimes I got silence, but I kept showing up. The tattoos started then, not for fashion. Every time I played a gig that paid nothing or wrote a song that made my chest tighten, I got ink. It's a ledger, a receipt, proof that I was there. There was no fairy tale discovery, no magic moment where the doors swung open. I was 24, playing a Tuesday night at a hole-in-the-wall in Bermondsey. 40 capacity, maybe. The mic stand was held together with gaffer tape. The floorboards vibrated like they owed me rent. There was a guy in the back, Tarek. He ran a tiny independent label out of a warehouse. He wasn't looking for a pop star. He was looking for truth. He came up to me after the set. I was sweating. My voice was gone. I smelled like smoke and cheap floor cleaner. He didn't compliment my hair. He didn't ask about my brand. He said, "You sound like you've lived 3 lifetimes. Let's record." He offered me studio time. Not a contract, not money, just time. I took it. The studio was a shock. In the pubs, you fight to be heard. In the studio, you have to learn how to be quiet. The microphone picks up everything. Your breath, your doubt, the way your stomach growls. They wanted to fix my pitch. Just a little correction, they said. Smooth it out, I refused. My voice cracks because I'm human. If you fix the crack, you fix the lie. I wanted the room noise. I wanted the breath. I wanted it to sound like a person, not a machine. My lyrics aren't poetry. They're reports. I write about the boat. I write about the cold flat. I write about the shame of being poor in a rich city. I write about honor, but not the shiny kind. The kind that keeps you standing when your legs want to fold. I'm 30 now, still tattooed, still direct, still singing like the mic owes me back pay. The industry calls my music raw. They use it as a marketing term. Authentic blues, gritty soul. They don't know that grit is just what's left when you've been sandblasted by life. Do I feel honored? Yes, but not because of awards or streams or playlists. I feel honored because I'm still here, because my brother is safe, because my mother doesn't have to clean offices at night anymore. The crown isn't on my head. It's in the work. It's in the fact that I can stand in front of a microphone, look 1,000 people in the eye, and tell them the truth without shaking. People ask me what the blues is. They want a definition, a genre box, a tempo. It's not that. The blues is just the sound of refusing to lie. It's the sound of carrying weight without complaining about the load. It's the sound of a Tuesday departure, a cold estate, a cracked notebook, a bleeding fingertip, a gaffer-taped mic stand, a room that smells like cheap whiskey and honest mistakes. It's the sound of a name that means crown when the world keeps handing you scrap metal. I don't sing to be liked. I sing because the truth weighs too much to carry quietly. If you're listening, you already know why you're here. You don't need a filter. You don't need a polished hook. You just need someone to say it straight. I'm still here, still working, still tuning to the room. Press play. Expect the truth. Nothing more, nothing less.